It's that time again. That time when you get together with your crazy besties and launch a crusade against all the known evils of the world, because the corps don't want you to know too much and the average Joe doesn't know enough. It's time for a Shadowrunner to rise and save the world. And do some odd jobs along the way. Also, yes, you can pet the doggo. Confirmed. Greetings everyone, this is the Hipster Snek, ushering you back to the 6th world, this time through the main campaign of Shadowrun Dragonfall Director's Cut. Originally a February 2014 DLC expansion campaign from Shadowrun Returns, it was later expanded upon and given its own full launcher, and some quality of life improvements over its predecessor in September the same year. Hence the Director's Cut of the title. Like Shadowrun Returns, this game has tons of fan-made content for it, including full-length campaigns. But we'll be limiting our visit this go-around to the main campaign, the titular Dragonfall campaign, which puts your runner into a pre-assembled group of ragtag buddies in arms under the watchful eye of Monica Schaefer, the team's dedicated hacker. However, when a run under a mansion suddenly turned sour, Monica is struck dead by unbelievably powerful counter-intrusion measures, and her dying gasp names something called Feuerschwinge. And due to some less than official word of mouth, you, despite being the newest member of the group, are thrust into the role of leader and have to bring your unruly batch of pals under your command to solve the mystery of Monica's death. Once more, an encyclopedic knowledge of Shadowrun lore may spoil some plot events in this game, but for those like me who entered blissfully unaware, the story is a compelling and curious case indeed. Dragonfall is set quite a ways from Seattle this go-around. It takes place in the political zone known as the Flux, or F-State, which encompasses a large swath of Germany, including the city of Berlin. Not just that, but with the exception of the first few and last couple missions, we largely determine what order business gets taken care of, or even if we want to skip certain runs entirely. On top of that, every single member of your permanent party, yes, you don't have to pay for help every single run anymore, has a story all their own that you can pursue as well. This includes Dietrich, former frontman of the punk band named Messerkampf, always written out in capital letters, who is the team's shaman under the blessings of the Dragon Slayer, and total all-around bro. Glory, the resident street samurai and medic who has extensive cybernetic enhancement she seems hesitant to speak about, and is also kind of useless. Iger, former KSK and general sniper and weapons expert, and optionally Blitz, who takes over as Rigger and Decker in Monica's absence. Though I feel that even if you stat a Decker for yourself, it's worth taking him along. Your team assembled, if a bit disheartened by its recent losses, you're tasked with solving the mystery and fighting for your fallen friend's memory, and the decisions you make will change the very future of the F-State and, possibly, the entire world. To start, the game looks great, as it rightfully should, being based on the graphical engine used in the first. This time, however, you'll notice maps will tend to be on the larger side of things. The overall size of the mission maps trends towards larger setups, including the overall hub area you'll operate out of. Though it's broken up by its utility, certain shops dotting certain corners. The portrait art even seems to include what seems to be a shout-out to a certain green tech story, but I can neither confirm nor deny that's precisely what's happening here. I like to think that it is. Link in the description for the curious. Sound-wise, it's more or less what Returns offered, but more. More brooding quiet ambience when no one's being shot, and more high-tension, blood-pumping rock techno-metal when bullets are in the air. It's as simple as that. Mechanically, and stop me if this sounds familiar to you, you'll begin by making your Shadowrunner. Start with the species, humans for the terminally uncreative, elves for socialites, dwarves for the willful, orcs for those who want to be swole, and trolls to be too swole to control. After which you'll pick your role, or go roll less, in order to customize by hand. The archetypes, which you are by no means married to, include Street Samurai, or the tank, the Adept, or magical melee unit, Mage, magical ranged unit, Shaman, healer/freak-out-everyone guy, Hacker, and Rigger, the latter two being very, very similar stat-wise. My advice, do what you think is fun. Your party of ne'er-do-wells the game gives you for free more than complement any specialization you choose for your runner. Of course, you can also hire help on a per-run basis if you need a specialist outside your circle's capacity. And also the fact that Glory's not very good, but that's just my opinion. After which, the gameplay will begin in earnest. Dragonfall boasts turn-based, cover-oriented RPG mechanics with heavy emphasis on gunplay and ranged combat. Though there really is nothing stopping you from making a street samurai who can just punch their way through tight spots, so load out on whatever equipment you feel is best for the role that you want to play. Plus, the UI is much more refined. Choosing your tools for the trade is much easier and more intuitive than it was in Returns, pretty much exclusively controlled by simple clicks of the mouse. Also, like Returns, you'll want cover at pretty much all times, with even cover that shouldn't logically cover you from anything being better than nothing at all, and the nice solid wall between you and danger often being the fine line you'll walk between payday and death date. And rather than having pools of MP, spells and some abilities operate off cooldown times. Thus, your mission is to deal with whatever enemies stand in your way, combined with talking your way through a complex webway of social options, many of which influenced by your stat distribution and even your meta type to a lesser degree, and dealing with puzzles that will test your judgment and ability to think on your feet. You'll be amazed at just how much of the story feels driven by you and your abilities, all by simple way of click of the mouse. It does feel like a logical extension of Shadowrun Returns, but all with its own flavors on top of that. In fact, there's in-game news sources you can find that mention the events of the previous game in it, which is a nice continuity nod. However, Dragonfall does so much more, not just in terms of its storytelling, but as said, you can choose the order you take the runs in, and to a much, much greater degree. And sniper rifles are finally their own weapon family that run on unique mechanics, separate of those of regular rifles. All this and the strong character focus are all part of what makes Dragonfall feel like such an amazing and immersive experience. And there's probably other mechanical improvements that I just don't know about because I haven't built a character that's been impacted by them yet, so who knows. Were I to issue complaint, it's just that the game does meander a little bit in the middle during a time where you're trying to raise funds for a particular plot point, and some of those runs can feel a little bit disjointed. Though it does accurately reflect how some runs will be more episodic and some will be more meaningful as a whole, much as happens in the tabletop game, so it still makes sense. I guess beyond that, just that it left me wanting more. And thanks to the game's multiple endings, some of which are going to end up being build dependent, there is a lot of replay value, plus some of the campaigns made by fans. I'll sit down and pick some good ones out one of these days. Could be a fun top 10, don't you think? Ultimately, Dragonfall is more than a new expansion for Shadowrun Returns. It's an amazing story that stands on its own. It gives insight to the lore of the Shadowrun world, the socio-political impact of the metatype race riots, the devastation wrought by the sudden arrival of dragons in a cyberpunk world, and the boundless good and evil found in the human and metahuman condition. It's a beautiful and compelling story crying out for a worthy protagonist to see it through to its completion. And it might as well be you. This has been the Cyberpunk Snek, bringing another installment of the Shadowrun franchise to light. If you liked today's video, hit the like button so I know. Leave a comment down below telling me how you built your runner and how you saw your game through. You can also get more from me by heading over to the Tomodachi Bros Podbean, YouTube, and absurd amount of social media pages, all links listed below, or just tap the subscribe button for more from me right here every week. And join me here for more obscure reviews, indie excellence, and more. And I will see you there. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. And if you're still watching, I just wanted to let you guys know that I wanted to extend a big thank you to all my viewers for helping us recently break the 250 subs milestone. That is crazy to me. The fact that we did it so quickly is all thanks to you and you guys supporting me, and it means the world to me. So I want to give a little something back in return. Between now and the time we hit the 500 subs mark, both on my YouTube discussion page tab and over at my Twitter at Hipster Snek, there is now an open AMA, or Ask Me Anything, where you guys can ask as many questions as you want. When we hit the 500 subs mark, I will sit down, make the video, and answer every question that doesn't get me banned off YouTube. The posts are already there and pinned, awaiting your input. I'm curious to see what you guys are curious about. So I'll see you at the 500 subs mark and with all the answers that you've been craving. And I will see you there.